In a quiet laboratory, somewhere far from the eyes of the world, a droplet of clear liquid shimmered beneath the cold glow of a microscope. It wasn't blood, nor oil, nor anything the earth had ever known. Inside it, invisible to the human eye, something stirred. Something that wasn't supposed to exist. A living cell, but not one born from nature. It was built, constructed from fragments of code and chemical matter, assembled by human hands and awakened by design. That single cell was the first heartbeat of something extraordinary, the first spark of synthetic life, a moment that changed everything humanity thought it knew about existence itself. Because for the first time in history, life was no longer something that happened by chance. It was something we could make. Synthetic life. 2 words that sound like science fiction, but they carry the weight of something sacred. It's not about robots or artificial intelligence pretending to feel. It's about the creation of life itself, not through birth, not through evolution, but through engineering. It's the dream and the danger of becoming the authors of biology. Imagine building a living organism the way you might build software. Line by line, molecule by molecule, 10 pressing run, and watching it grow, breathe, replicate. Not cloning, not editing what already exists, but creation from the ground up, life by design. Humanity, for the first time, not just understanding the laws of nature, but rewriting them. For centuries, we studied life. We mapped it, dissected it, tried to define it. Now, we've taken the next step. We rebuild in Italiano, and in doing so, we've crossed a line that may never be uncrossed. In 2010, a scientist named Craig Venter announced something that shook the world. His team had created the first fully synthetic organism, a bacterium called Mycoplasma JCV ISIN 1.0. It looked like an ordinary living cell. It replicated, consumed nutrients, and behaved exactly as it should. But here's what made it extraordinary. Its entire genome was designed on a computer. Not copied, not altered. Written, Venter and his team printed that digital DNA chemically, inserted it into an empty cell shell, and watched as it came to life. He called it the first self-replicating species whose parent is a computer. Think about that. For billions of years, life came only from other life. Then one day, it came from a file. That moment blurred the line between biology and technology, between creator and creation. The reaction was instant. Some called it a miracle. Others, a mistake. Philosophers asked if we had just become gods. Religious leaders questioned whether this new cell had a soul, and ethicists wondered what kind of world we were building. For the first time, creation was senti. An act of divine mystery. It was an experiment, and the question on everyone's mind was hauntingly simple. If we can build life, should we? Because the ability to create life means having the power to shape it, to control it, to define what life even means. And that realization forced humanity to look in the mirror and ask, not what can we do, but what are we becoming? To build life, you must first master its language, the language of DNA. 4 letters, A, T, C, and G, the alphabet of everything that breathes, grows, and dies. Every flower, every heartbeat, every thought you've ever had is built from these 4 symbols, arranged in infinite combinations. Synthetic biologists now read and write this language with precision. They design new genomes that never existed before. They create cells that can produce fuel instead of waste, microbes that can clean oceans, eat plastic, or repair ecosystems. Living machines that obey human instructions. Biology has become a technology, programmable, repeatable, editable. But with that power comes something both fascinating and frightening. We're no longer just living within evolution, we're directing it. Nature has always evolved through trial and error, slow, blind, and patient. It took billions of years for life to crawl from the ocean onto land. But with synthetic biology, evolution moves at the speed of software updates. Each new design is a new generation, and each experiment reshapes what's possible. We are no longer waiting for nature to evolve us. We are evolving nature. Yet, every line of DNA we rewrite carries risk. A single mutation can spread unpredictably. A single misstep can unleash consequences we don't yet understand. Life, once released, cannot be controlled. And that is the paradox. The same quality that makes synthetic life beautiful is also what makes it terrifying. It learns, it changes, it grows beyond its maker's intent. Still, the potential is staggering. Synthetic life could save the planet. Imagine engineered algae, that produce food in deserts, or bacteria that devour pollution and purify air and water. Imagine programmable cells that seek and destroy cancer, or synthetic tissues that repair organs perfectly matched to your body. Diseases could vanish. Aging could be slowed. Death itself might be delayed. Synthetic biologies could make immortality less of a fantasy and more of a scientific project. It's a vision filled with hope, humanity finally mastering life, bending it toward healing and creation rather than destruction. And yet, as history has taught us, every technology that saves can also destroy. Fire warms wars, but it also burns. Nuclear energy powers cities, but it also builds bombs. So what happens when the next weapon isn't forged from metal, but grown from cells? Because that's the shadow behind the light, the darker edge of creation. In the wrong hands, synthetic life could become the ultimate weapon. Imagine viruses with custom-built lethality, cells programmed to attack certain genetic codes, organisms designed to spread silently until triggered. Governments already pour billions into biosecurity for threats that don't even exist yet. They do it because they know, one day, someone will try. Power always tempts chaos, and the power to create life itself is the most tempting power of all. In 2020, a new breakthrough took the world by surprise. Scientists created something called Xenobots, tiny living robots made from frog cells, but rearranged to behave like programmable machines. They weren't metal or silicon. They were soft, alive, and capable of something never before seen. These Xenobots could move, heal themselves, and even gather loose cells to build new copies of themselves, not through reproduction as nature intended, but through an entirely new mechanism. They weren't frogs anymore. They weren't machines either. They were something in between, something nature had never imagined. They showed us that life is not bound by its origins, that biology is far more flexible than we ever dared believe. Watching them under the microscope was unsettling. It made people ask, what is life, really? Is it the ability to think, to feel, to change, or is it something deeper, an essence we can't define? If we can build it, does that mean we captured it, or only imitated it? When scientists watched their creations move, they felt a mix of wonder and dread, because in those tiny creatures, they saw a reflection of themselves. Humanity learning to shape life, while barely understanding its meaning. Maybe what we really building synthetic life. Maybe we rebuilding a mirror, a reflection of our curiosity, our ambition, and our loneliness, because that's what drives all creation, a kind of loneliness. The feeling that in a silent universe, we want to know we are not alone. So, we build, we explore, we create life because we long to understand our own. And maybe, in making new life, we're hoping to see our purpose reflected back at us. Synthetic biology isn't just a scientific revolution, it's a philosophical one. It forces us to confront what we believe about souls, consciousness, and meaning. If we can program cells to behave like organisms, and machines to behave like minds, what separates us from them? Are we still the creation? Or have we become the creators? The truth is, synthetic life doesn't just change biology, it changes us. It shifts how we see the world, how we define morality, how we measure existence. Life stops being sacred and becomes editable. Every genome becomes a project, every organism a potential product. We begin to see ourselves less as part of nature and more as its engineers. And yet, in that transformation, there's something profoundly human. The same spark that made our ancestors light the first fire, paint the first symbol, and reach for the first star, that same spark drives us to create life. We are still explorers. Only now, the territory we explore isn't the heavens above. It's the code within. There's a haunting poetry to this, because for the first time, humanity stands where gods once stood. The power to breathe life into the lifeless, to awaken matter with will, to make something that can think, feel, and evolve. But if creation defines divinity, what does it mean when we become creators? Do we inherit the responsibility of gods, or only their arrogance? Creation without wisdom leads to chaos, and in our pursuit to build life, we might be so obsessed with what we can do that we forget to ask what we should do. Maybe the true test of humanity is not how far we can push creation, but how wisely we can wield it. The future will be built on synthetic life. There's no stopping it. We'll grow living fabrics, self-healing buildings, biodegradable machines. Organisms will power cities, cells will produce medicine faster than factories. It will be wondrous and terrifying. Because when life becomes code, it can be hacked, bought, or stolen. Someone will try to own it. Someone will try to control it. Someone will try to play God with it. And that's the truth we must face. The next great war, the next great discovery, the next great miracle will all be fought on the frontier of life itself. Maybe the story of synthetic life isn't about science at all. Maybe it's about meaning, about humanity's endless need to create, not just to survive, but to feel significant. We create life because we want to understand our own origins, because we want to feel closer to the spark that made us, because deep down, we're trying to answer the oldest question of all: why are we here? Maybe, as we breathe life into circuits and cells, what we're really doing is breathing life into ourselves. Creation, after all, is humanity. Is old as prayer, our way of speaking to the universe saying, we exist. In the end, synthetic life is not a miracle or a monster. It's a mirror. It reflects everything beautiful and dangerous about being human, our brilliance, our ambition, our fragility. We are the only species that can create life deliberately. That power is sacred. If we use it with arrogance, it could destroy us. But if we use it with love, it could heal everything we've broken. The story of synthetic life is the story of us learning to hold creation with reverence, to remember that power means responsibility, that knowledge demands humility, and that every living thing, no matter how it was made, carries something worth protecting. Because in the end, life, whether born from womb or wire, is still life, and in learning to create it, we might finally learn what it means to cherish it. The future of life doesn't belong to nature alone anymore. It begins with us.